Well, hello and welcome to the Lending Podcast. We're excited to join with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is John Burnham, the infamous guru of mortgage. My name is Jeff Jones, coming to you from Austin, Texas. And we are talking about something fun today. What are we talking about today, JB?
This is one of the coolest first-time homebuyer programs you will ever hear about. We are super excited to present this to you. Yes.
Oh, okay. You can't start it off. This is going to be the coolest homebuyer program.
This is one of the coolest first-time homebuyer programs ever. So let me have a step back. So one of the most common questions we get from our first-time buyers is, what benefits do I get as a first-time buyer? And it's obviously a very relevant question. And most of the time, the answer that I give, it's a pretty standard answer, is there are some amazing first-time home buyer benefits, mostly surrounding down payment assistance.
Down payment assistance.
So if you're a first-time home buyer and you need down payment assistance, there are so many options. There's multiple programs we talked about right before we started this. There's a half a dozen that we know of. There's probably even more than that.
Okay.
You know? And so, but that's usually the main answer. However, our buyers that have their own down payment, there's not usually a lot of extra benefit because most of the first-time buyer programs are focused on, let's get you down payment assistance. We have one today that even if you have your own down payment, this is a tremendous, tremendous opportunity to get some grant money from the state of Texas.
Yes. Yeah, so we're going Texas specific on this.
Yes.
Just a quick definition of first-time homebuyer. It is anybody who has not owned a primary property in the last 3 years. So if you had a home 4 years ago that you sold, you're now a first-time homebuyer because you haven't owned one in the last 5 years.
That's right.
3 years. So it's a 3-year thing. So it's kind of a misnomer, you know. If you've rented for the last 3 years, you are now a first-time homebuyer.
That's right. And we verify that with 3 years of tax returns generally, so that we can show that you have not written off any of mortgage interest on your last 3 tax returns. Obviously, you would have written that off if you're a homeowner. So that's kind of how we prove it, that you haven't had any ownership interest. And this particular program, I'm super excited about. Again, the box may be a little smaller for some folks. There are some income limits. There are some other requirements. Obviously, you have to qualify, debt to income ratio, credit scores, things like that. But I'm going to share with you a few facts here.
Yeah. Before you go into it, I just kind of want to set a little environment landscape.
Okay.
So we geek out on programs.
Speak for yourself.
We're a Benchmark Mortgage. Not only do we have our own agency benchmark specific programs, but we also broker other programs that other banks carry and other lenders carry. So we have a very wide availability of products to fit the perfect piece of somebody's situation into. A lot of people don't have both options of agency and brokered loans. We do, which is wonderful. So we're like a one-stop shop kind of lender.
No question.
But when we're talking about down payment assistance programs, if you're outside of Texas, you know, even though the things we talk about, there might be similar programs for you even outside of Texas. Most down payment assistance programs are very state specific, you know, and then even within that state, so Texas, for example, we have really 3 that are really popular. They're really large volume down payment assistance programs. One of them is geographically focused on Southeast Texas. One is really focused across first-time responders and teachers, and they call it Homes for Heroes. And then this one we're talking about is more Central Texas. So if you're in Central Texas, like we are here in Austin, and the surrounding areas, it's not just Austin, this program we definitely want your lender to know about. If you are working with a lender, they don't know about this program, then get a hold of us, or have that lender get a hold of us and go, what in the world are you talking about? So, because this one's great. It's one of our favorites. All I have to say is talk to a specialist that knows what they're doing, because if they don't know about this program and you fit into the box, you're really missing out. True. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, and the programs most of the programs are available anywhere in Texas. There are some geographically specific ones. What we're going to highlight today has several counties. I think it's 8 or 9 counties that are in the Central Texas area that are providing a grant. You do not have to pay this money back. It is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. It can be used for additional down payment. It can be used for closing costs. It is a true grant from a Texas-based organization.
Yeah.
And it's a Texas program, right? Specific state program. So I don't usually do this, but to get this right, I've got to read off the cheat sheet here today.
Oh yeah,
so
I don't want to get them wrong.
This is incredible. So I'm going to read off the counties where this is available. Now, keep in mind, this is specifically for the additional grant money. This is not for, is the program available? The program is available, down payment assistance, the MCC credit, which we've talked about on previous episodes. It's a mortgage credit certificate. You can get a rebate from some of your interest that you pay the IRS, for a rebate from the IRS, some of the interest that you pay.
Mortgage credit certificate, episode 22 of the Lending Podcast. We do a deep dive into how that changes your life.
Awesome. And of course, that can change at any moment. So
yes.
Check with us to make sure it's still
episode
available.
22. Go ahead.
So here are the counties that the grant is offered right now in. So Bastrop County, Blanco County, Burnett County, Caldwell, Fayette, Hayes, Lee, Llano, and Williamson. Now, of course, Hayes County, Williamson County are our neighbors, right? Hayes to the south, Williamson to the north of where we are right here in Austin, Austin proper. Travis County, you'll notice, was not listed on here. Travis County has its own down payment assistance program specific to Travis County. We'll help you navigate through that.
So, just so people know, you heard 8 counties listed off. When you're house shopping with your realtor and you're doing a search and you're working with your lender, these things matter, right? Because all of a sudden, if you have a house that's on the border, my property is really close to Travis County, but I'm in Hayes County. And if we would have picked a house in a different subdivision in the same town, we would have actually been in Travis County. Wow. So it's very specific where those borders are. If you're looking in a border area and you're looking at these programs, just let your lender know what that means for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so specifically for Hayes and Williamson, there's a $5,000 available grant, additional grant. Again, this does not need to be repaid. The other counties are $10,000. Okay. Now, what does it take to qualify for this? I'm going to run through some of the specs. So these are FHA loans. It could also be a conventional loan. Both programs can apply. There are some income limits. I'll give you an example of kind of the range. The high end of the income limit is $144,900 for a household income. That is a healthy household income. So if you're under $145,000, essentially household income with 3 or more persons, this may work for you.
Yeah.
Some of the lower counties, like Burnett County, for instance, is $105,340. That's the income limit. So depending on the county, Hayes and Williamson were on the higher side. Burnett, Caldwell on the lower side, or Burnett and Blanco rather on the lower side. Caldwell is on the higher side. And so where do you fit into this? We're going to obviously help you navigate through. And remember, this is qualifying income. This may not necessarily be what you filed on your tax return, 2 years ago, because we can't necessarily qualify you on just what's on your tax return. There's a formula for that. So let us help you guide you through it. There's also some purchase price limits. So again, this varies, but in Bastrop County, for instance, the purchase price limit is $586,000 and change.
It's a good house.
That's a fantastic house.
It's more than my house.
So you can get a $10,000 grant if you have an income of $144,900 or less and qualify for a home up to $586,000. Yeah. Again, all the debt to income ratios apply. There are some targeted areas, non-targeted areas. What does all that mean? Well, we put it in a map and we actually put a geocode location on the house that you're looking to purchase.
Right.
And this program pops up. So the takeaway is this could be a program where you have your own down payment already and you may qualify for the additional grant, and or you may qualify for the down payment assistance and the grant. And you can also look at doing the MCC credit, which is an interest calculation reduction.
Let me just recap that because you said a lot of really good stuff.
A lot of stuff.
So, so if somebody has to rewind and rehear it, or just give us a call, we'll be happy to walk you through it. So, what assistance you're getting could be threefold on that, and there's a fourth one we'll get into it too. But basically, money wise, we're talking about a $5,000 or $10,000 grant, forgivable, That's just like a flat grant. Then there's down payment assistance, and those could be 2, 3, 4% assistances. We do have another program that goes up to 5. And so that could also be available on top of your 5 to 10. And then there's what we call the mortgage certificate credit, episode 22. We do a deep dive into it. That is compounded with this program if you qualify for it. That helps out tremendously in a big way with your taxes. It also helps out with your purchasing power because it is able to help show more income because you're actually getting a credit on your taxes. Anyway, that's true. That does a deep dive on that, so that increases your purchasing power to get available for MCC credit. So those are 3 financial helpers, and then we get into the rate.
Yeah, well, let's just say the interest rate's below the market rate average because
so
it
the
does
interest
change.
rate on this amazing program that's giving you money is actually lower than the market rate, comparable
average.
market rate for that product. So FHA and conventional. So let's just give an example, and I might get in trouble because I'm using numbers here. When I priced this last week, the rate was just above 6. Mm-hmm. It was 6.125.
Yep.
And then when I priced, that was with this program. Mm-hmm. When I priced it without this program, that FHA rate was 6.70.
Yes. So let's just say it's about a half a point, maybe a little more than half a point.
A little more than half a point for just going with this program. And that doesn't mean you have to even use the down payment assistance program.
That's right.
That's just with this program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so let me give you an example yesterday. So I have a call with a really good friend of mine yesterday. They're buying their first home. They have a 1-year-old baby. They're like, we got to get, and they're renting a nice house now, but they want to own a home, right? And they need to own a home because of the tax advantages. Very good income earners. They actually are over this income limit. So the gentleman asked me on the phone yesterday, we're first-time buyers. What benefits do we get for being a first-time buyer? And I love that question. Here's the tricky part. They're going to put about 10% down, maybe 15% down. So they have a big chunk of cash, pretty good chunk of cash, that they're going to put down. They're over the income limit on a program like this, and they have really great credit scores and good incomes. So something like this isn't a fit. And I think that's an important takeaway is just because you are a first-time home buyer doesn't mean you should be in one of these programs or there's a benefit to be in one of these programs. But on the converse, there's some amazing money available for you if you are under that $145,000, let's say. And there's actually, depending on the limits, can go up to $176,000 if it's in a quote unquote targeted area. Again, there's a map. We map the location of the house. Depends on how many people are in your household. If you have at least 1 or 2 kids, I think minimum 3 people in the household, then we can go up to $176,000 on the income limit. Right. So qualifying income. So it's really, really fascinating to hear and see, talk about these programs and how few people know about them.
Yeah, I was talking to a realtor yesterday, had no idea about this program.
No idea, yeah.
And we love educating. That's one of the reasons why we do this podcast. So please share this information out there with a lot of people because most people don't know about this program. And if you're buying in these counties all around us and your lender never even looks at this program, you're missing out.
That's right.
Big time.
And I'll just add one other takeaway. So there's 3 different sources of cash assistance here, if you really think about it.
Yep.
You've got a potential down payment assistance from the program. You've got additional grant that's county specific from the program. You can also negotiate some closing costs from the seller potentially. So depending on if you're in Hayes or Williamson, maybe that $5,000 grant doesn't cover all the closing costs. Right. It may, depends on the program. This program, actually $5,000 probably wouldn't cover all the closing costs. 10 probably would, depending on the sales price. But if you've got some additional closing costs from the seller, you could get into a home 0 down and have a tax credit coming back from the IRS. It's a phenomenal program. We've been not keeping it a secret by any means. We just haven't had a chance to tell it on the podcast yet. Yep. So we're doing it today. But this is a really, really great opportunity for folks out there, if this is like 2025, I'm going to buy a house. This is my year, right? And you're saying that to yourself, and I don't know if I can qualify, and I don't have any cash for down payment. Do not let the cash be your reason for not buying a house.
Yeah, and if you went to get pre-approved and you were told no, and the lender didn't look at this program, find a better lender. So
Fair enough.
find a way to say yes, or have a lender roadmap a way to home ownership for you. We love doing that with people.
Yep.
We don't like telling people no. We like telling people how.
Exactly.
And so, because we think that it could be one of the best things in your life if you have not owned a home to become your own landlord, because you're going to pay somebody's mortgage anyway.
Yep.
Might as well be your own, because you're going to grow your equity very quick.
And I had a client yesterday that's in Bexar County, and we did not. Bexar County, as you probably heard, was not listed on that list of available counties for the grant. Just didn't make sense when we ran all the numbers. It made sense to do a traditional FHA loan. So again, we're going to look at the location of the property, mesh it with a program like this. He is a first-time buyer. Let's just say he was in the Austin area. Probably would have been a really, really good fit for him. And in this instance, it wasn't. So let us guide you and share all your options with you so you know what you have out there.
Wonderful. Love it.
Yeah. Short and sweet today.
Short and sweet. But man, this one is a gem. So if you like to hear more about this program, you can always reach out to us through these comments. We're here at Benchmark Mortgage in Austin, Texas. John Burnham, Jeff Jones with the Lending Podcast. We appreciate anybody that's listening to this and would love for you to share the wealth of information we give out. So thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.